talked about these three data types. So numbers, booleans, and letters and words. So do you guys have any questions on these three topics so far? Okay, let me go over that. Let me just share my screen. Okay, I'm just gonna tell you something, and I want you guys to, you can unmute and just tell me, is it true or is it false? So first, 2 plus 2 equals 4. Is that true or false? Okay. What about 3 times 2 equals 5? False. Okay, yeah. Um, so basically, that's all that Boolean is. It's just telling me, is it true or is it false? So, for example, my favorite color is purple. So, if someone told me your favorite color is red, no, that's wrong. It's false. So, that's basically everything that Boolean is. Python does this very interesting thing called and or statements. And it's basically saying, let's just say this is the example that Satvika had earlier. So 2 plus 2 equals 4, and 3 plus 2 equals 4. This first statement is true, but the second statement is false. However, for the entire thing to be true, both statements have to be true. And since this one is false, the answer is false. For or, only one of the statements has to be true. So either 2 plus 2 equals 4 or 3 plus 2 equals 4. And in this case, because one of them is true, it results in true. Does that make more sense, or do you guys have any other questions? Okay, great. Yeah, feel free to stop me if you have any questions, by the way. Okay, letters and words, I think, are pretty easy to understand overall. But all they are is just like in daily life how we like use words to like write things. So for example, hello is a letter or word. It's a word here. And it's called a string in Python. So strings are always represented in quotes. So here you can see that there's like quotes beside hello world. So like that, if you ever want to write a string or like a letter or word in Python, you have to use these quotes. And then this like word also has a location. So if I was to ask you, what is the first letter in the word hello world, what would the first letter be? H. Yeah. So what about this? What about the what's the fifth letter? Yeah. So basically what you guys just did is called indexing. So it's assigning each thing or each letter a location. So H is in the first location, E is in the second location, O is in the fifth location, and so on. But in Python, we actually start at 0. So H is in the 0th location, E is in the first location, L is in the second location, and so on. I don't know why they did that. It's harder for all of us, but it's something a lot of programming languages will do. So, in that, now knowing this, what is the location of the first L using the Python index? You guys can either unmute or put it in the chat. So, if H is in the 0th location, what is the location of the first L? 2. Okay, perfect. So, yeah, it would be 0, 1, 2. And then, as I said earlier, just make sure that it's in these quotes. So, single quotes, double quotes, or if you really want, you can do triple quotes. Does is this clear, or do you guys have any questions? Okay, perfect. Okay, now everyone's favorite subject, math. So, I think you guys probably know what plus and minus are, but Python does a few different things with the other signs. Feel free to write these down, or I'll also send this to your teacher or to your instructor so that she can give this to you also. But it uses, instead of like the multiplication x sign, it uses this asterisk for times. So like 2 times 3 would be 2 asterisk 3. For divided by, it uses this like slash, which you might have seen before. Then it also has something called remainder or modulus. And this is basically like 3 divided by 2. Does anyone know what the remainder of 3 divided by 2 is? Yeah, it would be 1. So it would just return 1. So if I did like 4 divided by 2, then the remainder is 0. So this would just return a 0. So it's not too difficult to understand, but it is a new topic. Then there's also division without a remainder. So if I gave it, that's these two slashes. We won't really be using this, but it's just interesting to know. So if you do 3, 2 slashes 2, you're basically saying 3 divided by 2, and just leave it a whole number. So 3 divided by 2 normally is 1.5, but it would take off the 0.5 and just give me 1. And then exponents, have you guys done exponents? Like, do you know how to use exponents? No? Okay. So I'll just give a quick introduction. Exponents is basically multiplication multiple times. So if you want to divide 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, and you want to do that 10 times, you have to keep doing times 2 times 2 times 2, and so on. So instead of writing it out here, maybe I can actually just put it on the next slide. So normally you'd write like 2 times 2 times 2. Let's just say I want to do it 5 times. Does anyone know what the answer to this is, by the way? Okay, I see Lavender put 32. Joanne 2. Okay, perfect. So yeah, it would be 32. And instead of writing it, this gets really repetitive. It's like, how many times do I need to write this? So you can just write 2 to the power of 5. So like, let me because there are if we count here, okay, because we're doing the same thing 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can just say 2 to the power of 5, and then that equals 32. So instead of doing this thing where we write 5 as like a smaller number above 2, in Python we use these two asterisks. So it would be, if we were to write this in Python, this exact same thing, for the 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 thing, we would write 2 asterisk 2 asterisk 2 asterisk 2 asterisk 2, like that. But we can also just write 2 asterisk asterisk 5. So these are the same thing, but one is so much easier to write, especially when you have 100 or like 200 times that you want to do 2 times 2. Then it can get really hard to write it out every time. So you can just use an exponent. So we will cover this also later on, but this is just something good to know in general. And then here are some other signs. Maybe I'll just do something really quick. So I'm going to tell you some things, and you guys can just tell me, is it true or is it false? We'll do this again, okay? So 2 equals 3. Yeah, it would be false. So that's what this is checking. 2 equal signs is checking, is 2 equal to 3? How about 2 is not equal to 3? Is that true or false? True, yeah. So it's a little confusing, but basically you're saying it's not equal to 3. So technically it is true. What about 2 is less than or equal to 3? Is that true or false? 2 is less than or equal to 3. Is 2 less than 3? Okay, it would actually be true because for this statement to be true, either 2 has to be less than 3 or it has to be equal to 3. And 2, we know it's like 1, 2, 3. So 2 is already less than 3. So it would actually give us true. But what if we were to do is 2 greater than or equal to 3? Then do you guys know what it would be? Okay, then I'll just go ahead and explain it. Is 2 greater than 3? No, it's actually less than 3. So it would be false. Is 2 equal to 3? No, we already decided it's not equal to 3. So it's false or false. And what we learned earlier is that since both of these are false, the result has to be false. So 2 is not greater than or equal to 3. I think these are the main ones to know for now. Does anyone have any questions on this? Anything related to this? Okay, I think we're good. Again, feel free to stop me if you do have questions. All right. Um, do you guys want to play a quick game on this? Just to make sure that you understand everything? All right, cool. So can everyone, you guys have a computer in front of you, right? Can you go to the link called kahoot.it? Here, let me write it in my, here, let's, can you go to this? Here, let me put it, I'll put it in the chat. Can you try typing that into your browser? Okay, I think we have everyone. So let's get started. Okay. Which of the following is not one of the Python data types? Integers, strings, booleans, numbers. Okay, so integers are actually a data type. I know that's a common issue, but numbers are classified into integers or floats, but they themselves are not a data type. So I see Janus is quite high, and then we have Lavender following. What is the difference between an integer and a float? Okay. So an integer is any number that doesn't have a decimal point, like just 5 or 6. And a float has a decimal point, so like 5.54, 5.69, etc., etc. Okay. Wow, Janus is still in the lead. And then we'll see how it goes. Okay. What Boolean value will 2 plus 2 equals 4 return? Okay, so 2 plus 2, it does equal 4. So it would return true to us. Okay, cool. Let's see how it goes. What Boolean value will this return? 2 plus 2 equals 4, and 2 plus 3 equals 4. Okay, this would return false because 2 plus 3 does not equal 4. And for this to return a true, both of these conditions have to be true. And since that's not necessarily true in this case, it would return false. Okay. Which of the following is a string? Okay. So it would be strings have to have quotation marks. And because hello is the only one that has those quotation marks here, it's the string. Um does Alex, do you still need the game pin? Okay, if you do, I'll just put it really quick and then we'll continue. You can just join that link. Okay, so we have pretty similar standings. Okay, solve the following. 5 modulus or remainder 2. Okay, so for this one, it would be the modulus sign is telling us the remainder. So 5 divided by 2, it's basically 2 remainder 1. So that remainder is what we get. So it's 1 in this case. Solve the following. 3 asterisk asterisk 2, or 3 to the power of 2. Okay. This one is the exponent rule that we were talking about. So you're doing 3 times 3 two times, and 3 times, or you're multiplying 3 by itself 2 times. So it's 3 times 3, and that gives us 9. What Boolean will this return? 4 is not equal to 5. Okay, so this exclamation mark equal sign is basically saying not equal to. And 4 is not equal to 5. So technically, this does result in a true because that is true. 4 is not equal to 5. Okay, what does equals to refer to? We didn't cover this, but this is the challenge. So we'll see if you can guess. Okay, this is a hard one. So basically, in Python, when we're using the equals to sign, we're basically checking is 2 equal to 3? Then we'll say equals to equals to. That's it's just a weird way or weird syntax that they use. So is 6 equals to 6? That would be true. If I said 6 equals 6, that would give me an error actually because it doesn't understand that. So yeah, good job guys. Even though that was a hard question, I'm glad you took a guess. Okay. What data type is this? False. With quotes. Okay, so this is actually a trick question. Normally, true and false are booleans, but in this case, they're considered it's considered a string because there's quotes around it. Let me see. Okay, cool. So the rankings don't necessarily matter because I'm glad that you guys learned something, and I can see that through everything that we've done. Um, so great job to all of you for playing. Here, let me close this. Give me 1 second. Yeah, cool. So we're all done for today. Thank you guys so much. You're so I love the questions. I love how patient you are with everything. And I hope you had some fun and learned something new today. And I'll see you guys again next week. So next Sunday, same time.